Storytelling Ron here. I want to talk about new players. Having a totally new person playing, never played before. Um, and here's a picture of my wife and daughter. That's my wife and my daughter being silly. And then this is the new player. This is the aunt from England, or sister-in-law for me. She's never played Dungeons and Dragons, and I've had a couple of new players now in different groups, and I even had a nephew come from England, and he played. He's a DJ in England, in Newcastle, and he played. Never played before, and just I want to tell you how to have new players. And in my regular group, I have a new player, and his wife's going to be a new player next time. But they came in, and so I want to teach you or how I do new players. And as you can see, is having a good time. Never played this before. So let me get to what I do. Well, this is a map, but how you get a new player involved in Dungeons and Dragons. First, the best thing to do is you can explain to them a little bit, but boom, just get them into it. Just get them into the game. Don't even worry about explaining it. Literally, don't even. You can explain it, but you know what I'm saying. Just play. That's the best way to do it. Now, obviously, they're going to make a character. You keep it simple. Keep it like a fighter, a cleric, or a wizard. But that I wouldn't do rogue yet, thief. I would just do fighter, cleric, or wizard, and keep it very simple as far as like first level. While they're making a character, you can then explain the basic rules. But don't go just get them to roll the dice. Get your strength, get your intelligence. You need, and quickly set it up. So I'm always doing this in the morning with my coffee, so I get little coffee burps. So for instance, for her, well, what I did. Oh, let me get this. Let me show you one thing here. Okay, I want to show this website. It's called digitaldungeonmaster.com. Pre-made. Well, you just go to digitaldungeonmaster.com, and then he has great site and all. He has pre-made characters, and I use these quite a bit to pick out like for her. I didn't want her to make a character because just the time constraints. So I quickly got her, and besides the other characters were 7th level that were playing, so I didn't want to just deal with that. So I got her I think life domain 3rd level character, and just use this. And then it's pretty weak human, but this is perfect for what I wanted. And as far as the spells, I did take this out, and let me get this sheet out for you. And I did a different printout for the spells, because at 3rd level, and for someone who's never played Dungeons and Dragons, she's not going to understand all this. So let me get that sheet. Let me pause this, and I'll get that sheet. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the sheet I printed out for her so that it was just easier for her to understand. And she went up to 4th level, so there's a couple extra spells here. But when I finally finished the sheet, but she had, I gave up here, just so she understood what she had, DC 14, and then it was +5 when she started at 3rd level. Because we played a couple sessions, and she went up a level pretty quickly because of how much experience the other characters were getting her. And then, and I put down, I have a shorthand of how I write the spells out, like this little action, 1 target, dex, 60 feet, 1d8 radiant. Action, 1 target, dex, touch. I did this actually for all the spells. Kind of crazy of me. Actually, I'm going to post that on my Patreon. I'm going to put that in there because it's really handy for me. I go copy these out, paste them to whatever list I want. It'll be a doc file on my Patreon. I got a Patreon, Mini Dudes. MiniDoods. Mini Dudes, DOODS. But anyway, I'm going to put this with all the spells for Player's Handbook. All those spells are going to be like this shorthand in there, and I have them according to each class and levels too. So even if a spell is in Wizard and Cleric, I have them in both in the list. So it's really handy. And so I gave her this to explain to her all the different things. So she got this, and it was really cool. She used quite a bit of it. I was very happy about that. So that's this. Let me just close this out. But if you do a new player, and well, obviously at 1st level they're probably only going to have a couple spells, but they're going to have a variety of spells to pick from. You might want to give them something like this where they can just see the different spells, and I put it in simple form like this so that it's kind of easier to see them all in one page kind of thing, and pick what she wants to use. So there's that. That was cool. Again, I didn't really. We explained her a little bit as we before we started, but bam, just highly recommend is throwing them in, and as soon as you throw them in, you just start interacting with them, and oh, what do I? Oh, well, I do this, and okay, well, now you look at that skill and try to roll, and here's the number you got to beat. Roll, to do it. You got your +3 or whatever. Okay, you did. All right, blah, blah, blah. Or you failed. I can't help you. And I'm not gonna say anymore. I say anymore. So it's that kind of basic, simple stuff to do. A lot of fun. My experience. In one of my Storm King Thunders, I explain on an episode, the Storm King Thunder episode 2 or 3, a new player comes in, and I explain there how I did it, how I did with that guy. And so for this one, let me explain how I did it for her. Close that out. I don't need that. So cutesiness here. So what I started out with. Okay, this is the village. I'll do another picture. This is a previous adventure. Just me and my daughter played. She has the 2 elves here. They snuck in. These guys are in the tower. This is like a I forgot the director, the Japanese director who does Ran and Seven Samurai. He got that movie, the Yojimbo or Yo something, where it's a standoff, against. And this is a standoff. The orcs with the goblins. There's a red dragon guarding this holy symbol in this church. There's a young dragon who wants to keep it as his horde, and he's and they're out here, in the back hiding with their cart because they're trying to clear out this village. They already ruined the village. The village has already been ruined recently, and then they came back to try to get the holy symbol or whatever else is left. But there's also a hag hiding in the water in the lake. She wants to get it, and she's made friends with this crazed hill giant woman, female, feral, angry woman. So they're together. So it's like the standoff between the orcs, the dragon, and when they come in, they don't know any of this. So anyway, it was fun. It was crazy. That was a good little kind of fun little thing, and revelation when she comes out and stuff like that. But that's not this adventure. So then these characters return to here, and they're going to go up the mountain because there's a tower up there. So that's the backstory. So. What happens? Let me open up this. Okay, that's the tower. I'll call it Fallen Tower. But the village. Let me get the village. Fell Hamlin, the fishing village that she's coming to. Now, another thing is, I actually have lately. I spent all this time getting this set up right with the, with the squares, and so that your grid, your measurements. But what I'm finding though, I don't like using the squares anymore. I just take them out because it's really not that hard to do inches, right? It's really not. It's like, and when I zoom this out on the table, this here table, you can see the squares there, but I'm starting to not use them because it's simple enough to see that this is 5 feet, 5 feet. You know what I mean? Like, it's really not a big deal. See here, I don't even have them, and it worked out just fine. I just zoomed it out to what looked good with the model, with the miniatures. And this is a 43-inch widescreen I got from Kmart or Walmart or whatever. It's totally hilarious. I'm like, what? It's only $200. And that was cheaper than getting printouts of maps. I think a battle map to print it out is like $40. I printed out. I got some online from DM's Guild, printed it out, took all my ink, and that was $40. The ink was like $40. The color ink, So I realized seeing this is only $200. The screen. Oh my god, this covering though was $60. This acrylic covering. I need it, but because it's getting scoffed and dirty, I'd rather have that get it than the TV itself. But that's funny that's $60 and the TV was $200. Interesting, but that's I love capitalism. No, I mean I really do. I really love capitalism. I love that we have these so much opportunities to get stuff. Although maybe the TV is not capitalism. Slave labor or something. But anyway, I'm not going there. Okay, so this is the fishing village. Now, what I did was to introduce the aunt, the new player. She came back with the elves were coming back to here to then my daughter and wife were figuring they were going to bypass this whole thing and go up to the tower up on the mountain because there's it's fallen and something mystery there, and the other village they were at told them about this, so they were going to go check it out. But when they came back, and because my daughter was familiar with this thing, I surprised her with there's more orcs there, and they had big battle, and there were human slaves. So the human slaves were. It was cool because when the elves snuck up, the aunt who played the cleric, she's like the lady healer of the village. You know, the healing, the whatever, healer of the village. And so that was her character. Oh, she was like, oh, okay, you were of this village. Now I really set the story of how you're in shock, you're zombified, you're horrific. You've seen everyone die. The orcs killed there's only a few survivors. You know, she really like got into it. You know, you really got to get her into, got to get him into this, and the best way is obviously a sad, wretched story of the weak and the helpless getting destroyed by orcs or by evil minions, orcs, goblins. That's what orcs and goblins are for. They're for killing and victimizing and creating a conflict for the good or neutral or even evil that doesn't like, whatever, that just fights against this chaos, this evil, this horridness. So I got her into that mode, right? And she had a couple other villagers with her that were kind of dotted around, and they are supposed to be searching around and gathering tools, because up at the tower, I decided that the reason why are they there? Well, they want it to be a lookout because it's a great lookout. It's in ruins, but the orcs are expanding now. They have sorcerers and stuff, but they wanted that tower to be another rebuild it up as a lookout. So they needed these slaves to be the masons and rebuild the place. So they were coming back to the village to get their tools. And the slave or orcs were forcing them. So the villagers were kind of moving around, gathering the tools, and then the elves snuck in. It was such a cool moment because the lady healer, I really got her into that depressed mode, and then Scarlet's and the wife snuck up as these amazing, elves. You see this before your eyes as you're blurred and stricken with such horrors of what just happened to your village and your people. You see suddenly these elves come in and just slay the orcs, because they're high level, man. They got good bows and a lot of stealth and stuff, and it really made her like when Scarlet's rolling her dice and hit him, kill sniper, and she totally like got into it, boom, right into it, and she's sort of like, how can I help? And I say, well, you can get a couple of your spell, and she did a bless, even though she was weak. She still had her spells, but she knew she couldn't use them because she was not going to be able to fight the orcs, right? So, but she still had some of her spells. I decided to let her have some of the spells. So she blessed the elves, right there, because they were right behind her, and they took the +1 die 4 and all that. And she, I don't remember the details, but it was almost like I told her you're safe, whatever it was that she blessed them and felt courage again. And so she totally was like trying to, as the orcs were coming around and they had ogres and the elves were attacking them. She totally like ran into here, tried to get closer to the villagers, and tried to, the other ones and help them. And they're all like in shock. So that was great. And she totally got this, understood this rolling and spells and, what can I move and what can I do? And, oh, you cannot disengage, or you can disengage, but then you can't attack, whatever. All the little rules, little things. And she fell in love. She was just, oh my God, I never done this before. This is amazing. And that was fun. And then they went up to, they got their carts, and they totally were like planning. And she was so involved in how we gonna take this fort, And she knew, because the slaves were in these pits right here. I had them be in these pits, or cages or whatever. And I told them about there was a tentacle because there's a dungeon below, and there's a tentacle that came up and took some of the orcs and some of her people. And so there's that kind of mystery. So that was neat. And then, because they were talking about what we do, so she knew a lot about the place. So there's a picture here I have. Let's see. This one. So in this one, I explained that she, because she was a lady, the healer of the village, and they were in these cages, and they had brought down a few to go down the hill, or the what do they call it, the peak, down the peak to the village to get the tools and come back. So she already knew what was up here. So there was this many orcs residing in the towers that were still intact. This many ogres. A young red dragon had just come, who the elves had previously fought, took his or her treasure hoard. So he was in a frustrated state. So he joined with the orcs and now is serving until he can regain his strength and get his new treasure hoard. And there's an orc sorcerer. So they knew an orc sorcerer residing in this ruins, and So they were planning out what they were going to do. That was cool. It was a lot of fun for them to do this, and it was a very epic fight. And she, man, oh, this is, I'll just tell you because I enjoy doing this. So the daughter had a high level druid, and so she turned into a rat basically, and just scurried along to check it all out. And I rolled, and the orcs turned out to be very hungry, starved. I mean, think about it. There's not much food there, and they probably ate up whatever they brought. And the slaves, they were probably going to, when they needed the slaves to work, so they weren't going to eat them yet until they died. So there's that other. They don't mind eating humans, but they hadn't yet done that, or they only ate one or two, and the rest they had to keep alive. So yeah, there's that gruesomeness about being evil, and so they were starving, and so when she came as a rat, a couple of orcs tried to chase her down, but she got away, and then she went sneaking around here to check out the sorcerer, and saw that he had a stairway going down. There's a stairway going down into the whatever dungeon, but it's being blocked off by a rune, which I don't know if she knew that yet or not. But at some point in the story, there's a rune ward here, and there's a rune ward here that if anyone comes in, blow a fireball. But as a rat, she didn't come in there. Although I don't think I would have triggered it with a rat though. But she came up here, looked it in. She did like a little fumble on her stealth or something, and so the sorcerer heard her. But it turned out she played it smart. She ran off as a rat. The orc sorcerer, being hungry, and chased after her, and he kept going like an idiot. He went outside into the rubble, down the mountainside, and that's where she turned into a druid and killed him. And I had prepared this guy with all kinds of fireballs. I was going to blast him, and the dragon was going to come out and blast him. It was going to be harrowing. That's the cool thing about players, though. They do something you don't expect, and they took out my sorcerer. And I was like, dang. And then for the orcs and ogres, they lured him out down the hill and took out... Oh, why am I... You don't even see me pointing. They took out... Sorry. I'm very sorry. I think I went a little nutsos without the mouse. So that's the sorcerer. He went down the hill. Oh, sorry. I think I was pointing the whole time. You don't even see that. Okay, sorry. They lured out the they had an awakened tree as well. I don't know where that model is or here, and then they lured them down, a bunch of the orcs down, a few, and got them to fight down there. Now I decided the dragon's gonna do something at some point, right? And these orcs are all going crazy. Not all of them went. Some were, but they killed a few of them. So the dragon decides to go out and fight them, burn them, do a strafing run with the fire. They had some fire resist though, and here's the epic thing, man. They kicked butt. That dragon. It was a good, but they fought that dragon, and this. I just want to get to that other picture. So this right here actually represents an eagle. So there's the tree, the awakened tree. So the druid turned her character into the eagle, and then as they were flying, they flew over here. Oh, where's that picture? Let me find that picture. Let me pause it. Okay, here it is. So here's what I used for the flying stand. Yeah, we were drinking wine, man, and really enjoying ourselves. Italian wine is my favorite. But he was flying around, strafing them. They're shooting the arrows at it. It was crazy. And but then she turned her into an eagle, and the eagle flew off, and they had a battle right here with the whatever's. And then the dragon, I forget what it did, but it flew back around, and it flew this way. It crashed. It attacked the eagle. Eagle totally killed it. Arrows they shot, totally crashed. Boom. Epic. Orcs all run off. The rest of the orcs, because I didn't want to do once something epic like that happens, just everyone else flees. The orcs, even though there was 4 ogres and a dozen orcs left, they just scattered, because if he's going to defeat the dragon, they're going to take off. And that was a great epic ending, and that was the ending of the night. And man, so she was like, wow, this is amazing. My wife and daughter are having fun, and this is over the Thanksgiving weekend or week or whatever that she was here. So, but yeah, that's so new players. You just throw them in there. Don't fret it. Just be a DM. Give them that emotional state. Give them the situation. Always have victims, and it's obviously it's a sad thing to do. I always use farmers and the local people as sorrowful. If you need a motivation for the characters, that's it. You just make it the suffering of evil, because of evil. Don't ignore that, man. Use it. and I use it, man. It really adds the depth to the story. If you're not sure what to do about motivation and stuff, just that boom. And make funny characters too, sad characters, but add a little humor to lighten it up. And so yeah, that's my advice to you on new players, and just throwing them in there and having fun. And I hope these three don't mind me posting them on my video. They don't know I'm doing this.